Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Depends where you're from or when you're watching it. Welcome. Thank you. If you're in the live chat, make yourself known. Get your comments, any random questions in there, because I'm going to be relying on you in a little bit. It's been a while since I've done a little chat with you, so I thought we'd do that tonight. Anyway, Phil Sheezy sort of half kicked me off on my main topic. List of free agent strikers. Diego Costa, Daniel Sturridge. That Everton dude. The only other player has been banned for diving as well as Lanzini. Him, Bowen, Sacco, Pato. Who'd I choose? Honestly, nobody. None. I've seen that Diego Costa's apparently off the list already because he wants 200 grand a week. I mean, that would just be... Why would you do that? Such a big financial commitment to get... I mean, you don't even know if he's good enough and up to speed. If we sign a striker that's out of contract at the minute, that is, in my eyes, that's admitting we got the January transfer window wrong. That is saying we should have got someone. So for the club, the manager and the chairman or whatever to come out and make this stance, so we don't need another striker. We're fine with it is. And a week later to say, actually, we're going to go into and get a free agent. We're desperate now. We're desperate. And it just smacks of just that desperation. I think what it does is suggest that your transfer strategy from a week ago was incorrect. That's a big thing to admit. And I don't think that we've got I don't know the word, but we're too stubborn. It's this PR disaster, if you like. I know people will say, well, Yarmolenko is now injured. But the thing is, it's a bit of a cop-out, really, because Yarmolenko's striker wasn't really going to work anyway, even if he's fit, as we saw at Old Trafford. So I don't think we're going to sign. I don't think we'll get in a striker that's a free agent. I don't particularly want a striker that's a free agent. The list that Phil put up there is the names that are being linked to us, the only ones available. There's a reason they don't have a club right now. They've all got different reasons. Some are crap, some are injury prone, some wages are mental high, but that's that. Anyway, Antonio is supposedly possibly going to be fit for the Sheffield United game, which is a bonus, really. When he went off against Fulham, you could tell he was just feeling it or something because he still did a sprint after asking to come off. He still sprinted after the ball. So it was a precaution, fatigued or whatever you want to call it. It was just a bit of a cover-up. But he looks like he's going to be back for Monday, which is really promising and a bit of a relief, really. Alex is saying, would you give Odubeko another chance or use Bowen and Lingard? Both. I think Bowen's a frustrating one at the minute, and something needs to happen for Jared Bowen. Out of possession, I think Bowen is great. I think he does everything right. Works hard defensively. He does all the actions. He's where he's meant to be from a defensive standpoint. When he's in possession, that's where he's struggling a little bit at the minute. But he's still a decent player. If he was really, really good all the time in possession, he wouldn't be at West Ham. He'd be at a better club than West Ham. That's why he's with us. So I think getting him off the wing to almost take him away from all that defensive responsibility a little bit. I'm intrigued to see if I'm aware I'm clutching here, okay, because it's his decision making that's letting him down more than anything. But I am intrigued to see if removing the defensive responsibility of Jared Bowen would see a better Jared Bowen. I would like to see him played up front. He's played up front for Hull. He's got a record of scoring one every second game for Hull in the Championship, which is decent enough. We're looking at players with similar records for the summer. So I think I would give that a try. Lingard, it's what I predicted, really, so it wouldn't surprise me. But again, not against it. Good finisher, good movement. And, he's played there before. It's been a while, but he's played there before. But Meepo Odubeko, would I give him another chance? 100%. 100%. Listen, I think last night, he bottled it a little bit. I think he was a bit rabbit caught in the headlights. But my main issue with last night, while the substitution thing grated on me a little bit and the body looked absolutely gutted, my main frustration with it was that was his first chance. An hour. He played just under an hour at Old Trafford. That was his first real chance of first-team football. That's a big ask for any player. An 18-year-old first game, Old Trafford for an hour. He should have had 5-10 minutes here and there. Liverpool were 2-0 down. There's a good opportunity to get him on for 5-10 minutes. Just ease him in. So that when he played last night, it was his 5th or 6th appearance. He's got used to it. But one thing we need to consider, I've thought about this a little bit today, and this is the main topic of the video a little bit that I'm going to put in now, is that the one thing we need to consider, we've not had any time in the training ground recently because we've been playing weekend, midweek. We don't really have time to work on tactics, on formation and stuff. So when Meepo Odubeko come on, when he has been training with us, which hasn't been that long because of the COVID bubble, and he had an injury. He was injured over the New Year period and stuff, and then he was in the under-23s bubble. So then he had to come into the first team bubble. So once he was here, he had to get up to speed. He's not been training that long with the first team. But when he has been training with the first team, in the limited time we've had between games, you have to assume that we've been training in a 4-2-3-1 formation or similar that we saw against Fulham, against Aston Villa, against Crystal Palace. You'd have to assume that we've been training in that way. So he's been getting used to that formation. Old Trafford, we started with that formation. But when Meepo Odubeko come on, we were now playing a completely different formation. We're playing with wing backs and stuff. So anything that he has learned with the first team in this short space of time, it's null and void. It's gone. Anything that you've been practicing on in the training ground, it's not really there anymore. And when they are doing their attacking instructions and stuff on the training ground, I'd imagine Michail Antonio is the guy that they've been using up front and stuff. I just don't think he's had long enough on the training ground. I don't think he's had enough minutes on the pitch. And would I use him again? 100%. Would I start him against Sheffield United? No. But again, if we were 2-0 up or 2-0 down in any remaining game in the Premier League, I'd be looking to get him on for the last 5 minutes if possible and just ease him in. Just ease him into West Ham. He's done a tweet just before I went live. He's done a couple of tweets saying he's learned a lot about himself, blah, blah, blah. And, it's good to see that. It's good to see a young lad. And while they are PR trained, he's come through, with City and Man United, he would have been PR trained from the word go. It doesn't matter. He's doing it. It's 24 hours after the game almost. So he's obviously taking the day to reflect and put it up. Last night Declan Rice did something similar, putting his hands up for the goal, and it takes a bit of bollocks to do that. And you don't have to like it, you don't have to agree with it. But my opinion is that being a footballer in today's world is playing the social media game. That is part of it. PR is part of your game. It's part of your job, essentially. I think Declan's the best at the club at it, and I think that's why he gets so much respect. It's not just his performances, it's the way he conducts himself with the fan base. And I think when Meepo's gone and done that tonight, I think people are, not that anybody's been giving him abuse or anything, but anyone was a bit suspicious about his performance yesterday, thinking, is this guy the best thing since sliced bread? Which I'm one of the ones that's been banging on that he could be. When they see that tweet, I think a lot of people want the guy to succeed even more now. You see someone with a bit of bollocks about him, a bit of responsibility, and it's always good to see. So it's good to see of Meepo doing that. Yarmy, are you still a big fan of Yarmolenko? Yeah, I still think he's a good player. I still think he will work up front in certain games. Man United away, it was never going to work. It was never going to work taking Andre Yarmolenko and saying, there's the Michail Antonio rule. Can you go play with Michail Antonio? He was never going to manage it, okay? But Sheffield United, Burnley, West Brom, the games where we're going to have 50% possession or thereabouts, I think Yarmolenko would be okay in the striker role. He's been a success for Ukraine as a striker in international football. You can't just dismiss that completely. There's something there. But we're not just asking him to play as a striker at West Ham, we're asking him to play the Michail Antonio striker at West Ham. It's two completely different things. It's not just a striker's a striker. It's just not just that. That's what it is. Tom said, would you play it at the back if Oggy's unavailable? See, I'd probably stick with 4 at the back for Sheffield United. So then I'd probably look to bring in, it would have to be Bowen. We've taken Diop off for a concussion. He won't be allowed to play against Sheffield United. So Bowen would have to go in next to Dawson. But certainly for the next run of fixtures after that, we're going on that funny run again where we've got the likes of Arsenal, Wolves, Leicester, Tottenham in that small cluster. I'd consider switching to back 3 again, just for those games, because the one thing we've got a small issue with this season, the only issue we've got is sort of our results against the Sky Sports top 6. And I know Wolves and Leicester aren't in there, but they're in with the teams around about it. 2 points from 21, knocked out the cut by them. So we need to try something a little bit different against them. And I thought with a back 3, the second half at Old Trafford, I thought we played well. I still think we played well. Even now I've calmed down. I was a bit frustrated and disappointed last night, but even after calming down and reflecting more, I'm still even more insistent that we've done well. So I would like to see a back 3 up against those teams, but I think you can't have a formation for everything. You can't have one game plan and say, well, we'll play this against Sheffield United, we'll play this against Chelsea, we'll play this against Man City. It doesn't necessarily work like that. You need to have different game plans for different teams. And I would like to see, in theory, a flat back 4 for those round about us, because Moyes' record against a non-Sky Sports top 6 is fantastic. But it's against the top 6. in theory, to some extent, he bottles it a little bit. He goes way too defensive. So switching to back three allows us to do that one there. Isla Caton's Client Blue Army, go follow it if you haven't already. Go follow that YouTube channel. It says that Yarmolenko does not work as a striker. He's running around like a headless chicken. Mikey says we're back to hoofball the last few games because he is finishing in the bottom half. It's possible. It's possible, Mikey. I think I'm trying to remember the bigger picture. I think last season, at the start of the season, at half 10th, I would have been happy with 10th. I would be disappointed with 10th now, given where we were a couple of weeks ago, a little bit. And like I said, I still think we've missed a missed opportunity in January. We missed that opportunity in January to go and capitalise. Martin, good news. Have you not been listening to David Moyes? It says Masuaku going to play again this season. He's a month away from playing. So at the end of March, start of April, we should have Masuaku back in the team. We should have him back. So, right, anyway, what else have I got here? Back three. Ben Johnson, Tom was alluding to it. I thought Ben Johnson was absolutely fantastic. I thought Ben Johnson was brilliant last night. I thought he was arguably our main attacking threat, which isn't right. That's not what should be happening. But I thought it's what did happen. He'd come on, he was getting the ball, he was running down the line, he was taking players on, crossing the ball in the box and stuff. And I still insist this, right? I still insist this. If Ben Johnson was 26 years old, he would have more games this season. I still believe that. I still think because he's a youngster, it's restricting his game time. Because I thought he was man of the match one game, possibly Everton away or the game before Everton away. I thought Johnson was superb at left back or left wing. It was a left back then. I thought he was man of the match and didn't play the next game. He was back on the bench. And I thought, right, if he was 26, 27, if he was an experienced player, Moyes would not drop him. He's come in last night and he's been superb. I hope to see more of Ben Johnson. Chris says he's concerned about how tired we look. Endeavour and hard work is there. We look sluggish. Yeah, I've seen someone. Social media has been a bit funny, isn't it, the last couple of weeks? But I'm going to try and not rant about social media. This is like a West Ham video. I want to keep it about West Ham on social media. But someone made a really good point and says hard work can only get you so far. Eventually, you can't just win games by hard work. And he said that last night, he was basically trying to say the reason we've beaten teams like Fulham, the home one, is with hard work. Whereas we turned up at Man United and found out we can't win that game with hard work and we come unstuck. And I think this is the problem. Our defence has been brilliant all season. I can't remember the last time our defence played poor. Collectively or individually, they've been brilliant. Soufal's worst game's probably a rating of 6 out of 10. He's superb. Dawson's been superb. Ogbonna's been superb. Creswell's been superb. They've been brilliant, but the problem is the top end of the pitch need to do their job in order to win games, and that's where we've been lacking. Fulham, we couldn't keep a hold of possession. We couldn't get the ball. Last night we had a bit of it in the second half, but we just didn't have anything. There was just lack of creativity. So I just think, are we looking tired and stuff? Yeah, I think we are. But this is where I'm trying to get over it. But when you go back to the January transfer window, you've got to say there was an opportunity there to get players in for the players that are retired. Souček and Rice haven't started looking tired now with the window shut. They were looking tired a month ago when the window opened. They were looking tired. So it was there. The evidence was there to see that they were looking a little bit fatigued. The evidence was there when we told Sebastian earlier we need another striker. We've chosen to go with the squad, and it's a case of, well, so be it. But then I don't think you can use, when I say you, I don't mean you. I think the club and the manager can't use the small squad as any failings that happens in the second half of the season. However, I think they're just a bit more patient than me. They're just a little bit more patient. Uber Eats says that it's lack of activity in the transfer window. Blame the board. I blame them both. I blame the board and the manager. I think I blame them both, really. They're both stubborn. Sullivan can't get Moyes' players. Moyes doesn't want Sullivan's players. And I think Moyes is right not to want Sullivan's players. But there needs to be a compromise somewhere in order to move forward a little bit. But we can still have a fantastic season. This is getting a bit negative, so let me just retreat because it's on my list. Don't worry, it's on my list. The season's not over. And this was my big point with last night, that usually when we go at the FA Cup, I sit there and I say, right, season's over, see you in August. Yes, okay, we've had some relegation battles over the years, but it's not what you want, is it? You want a little bit of hope. You want a bit of a dream. And we've still got that in the league. Is it likely? No. Do I think we'll qualify for European football through the league? Not really. But we've still got it. It's still there. We've got a massive game against Sheffield United. But this is where for the first time in a while, we've now got a week to get ready for that game. They do look good, though, Sheffield United. I've watched the last few games. They're looking well organised, work their nuts off, and they were being quite unlucky the last couple of games. Well, they've been in good form. Against Chelsea, I thought they were lucky. I thought they had their time there. Uber Eats says no wins coming up. Antonio's out for 3 months. Bowen is useless. I don't think Bowen's useless. He's not doing it. He's not in form, but he's not a bad player. He's a good player. He just needs to get going. He's lost his mojo a little bit. He's lost his sparkle. But this is where Bowen needs a bit of consistency with his partner up front. 1 minute he's got Antonio, then he's got Meepo Odubeko, and then he didn't play with Odubeko, did he? Then he's got Yarmolenko. Has he played? Yeah, he played with Jesse Lingard at Fulham, didn't he? So it's changing. 1 minute he's got Benrahma in there, then he's got Fornals, then he's got Jesse Lingard. It's always changing, but I think he's a really good player. He's just out of form in possession of the ball. That's all it is. We just need to see a little bit. We do need to see a bit more from him, though. He's not been good enough recently. But if he was, like I said, he wouldn't be at West Ham. He would not be at West Ham. Dan, do you think we should be looking at signing more than one striker in the summer? Yes. I think we need 2 at least. I think we need 2. But this is where the rest of the season, whenever the game's finished, we're getting a hiding, we're 3-0 up, comfortable or something. I want to see Odubeko get minutes, 5-10 minutes here and there, just for the rest of the season. Let's give him a fair trial. Use the opportunity of lack of striker to give this striker a chance, because Moyes has said he wants to give Odubeko a chance, an opportunity when there's a chance. I feel like he's had opportunities to put him into the team prior to Man United, but he gave him one last night. I still don't think that's an opportunity. I think that's when you're getting the ball launched at you from 30 yards away. I don't think that's a fair crack at the whip. So I'd like to see Odubeko get a fair crack at the whip a bit more often, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, just ease him in and let's have a look at him between now and the summer, because if he is good, if he does we can get something out of him, it lessens the pressure. Yeah, we need to go get our top striker in the summer, but then Odubeko arguably could be your third choice striker going into next season or something. I don't want to buy 2 strikers and have 3 players in the way of Odubeko getting onto the pitch. We want to see the youth come through. There's got to be a pathway into the first team, and buying players just sort of clogs up that pathway a little bit, doesn't it? So it's difficult. Chris, would you say it's becoming an issue of heavy rotation of the attack midfield in terms of consistency? Bowen subbed a lot. Possibly. He's the most sub player in the Premier League. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I like my stats. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I think Jared Bowen is the most substituted player in the Premier League this season. It's got to do something to you, hasn't it? It's got to. For whenever West Ham do a sub, he's got to look over and go, "Oh, here we go. It's me, innit? It's me. First sub of the game. It's going to be me." I bet he went in at halftime at Old Trafford thinking, "I'm going to get taken off here because whenever a substitution is done, it's me that goes off." So it probably does do something. But if he plays well, if he's playing really well, he won't get subbed off. It's simple as that. There's a reason he's getting subbed off a lot, and that's because he's just not quite doing it enough. There has been 1 or 2 games he's come off. I thought he's doing quite well here. I wouldn't have taken him off against Man United at half-time personally. I would have taken off Fornals and put Bowen up front. I would have put Bowen as a striker and got Benrahma on and tried something a little bit different. But I can understand why Moyes took him out. The heavy rotation, well, I think that was the funny thing is, Chris, I feel we were actually getting a consistent. We were starting to see our first 11. Benrahma, Fornals, and Bowen were coming quite regular in the team. Then Lingard come in. I thought, okay, here we go. I think they've been they've been getting moved around a little bit, but I think Moyes has been quite consistent with his attack. Actually, it's just not worked at the minute. But put down to some individual players. Ian said Meepo needed taking off, but did not want to run. He knows he's a young lad, but don't think he will make it. I think that's a bit harsh, Ian. 58 minutes away to Man United in the FA Cup. I don't think you can call it on that. Unless you've watched lots of under 23 and under 18 games, you've not really played that much under 23s. But I don't think you can call it on that. Listen, did he play well? No. I think he panicked. I think he looked a bit he looked nervous. He looked a bit shell-shocked. But it's a big occasion. FA Cup, live on the BBC at Old Trafford. And yeah, he was crap at Old Trafford. He was crap last night. But so was Jared Bowen. So was Andrei Yarmolenko. These boys have got loads of experience, especially Yarmolenko. The guy's got tens of caps for Ukraine. Odubeko was no worse than him. Odubeko touched the ball more times than what Jared Bowen done. He only had an extra 10 minutes compared to Jared Bowen, but he still touched the ball a lot more. So let's just be patient with the lad. Let's just be patient on him. Gravy Dave. Thoughts on Sacco? No, I don't want any free players. You know, Ryan saying Dzeko, Diego Costa. No, I don't. I wouldn't get one in because they're crap. They're not crap, but they're free for a reason. The time to get a striker in was in January, and we can't say, you know, I sympathise with the people that want a striker in, but there was also some people that said we don't need a striker. Moyes is doing the right thing, which I understand. I agree with leaving the whole main target until the summer. I get that completely, but I do think there's a compromise there, which is a loan signing or taking an Ajeti style punt, you know, 8-10 million, hoping it works, and if it doesn't, you sell him and try and get most of your money back, kind of thing. I think there was a compromise to be had, and that's where I'm disappointed at. But then if we go sign someone for free, that is surely admitting that you were wrong to not go get in a loan signing or something. I just think it's bonkers to go get a free player. Michael, how many players do we need to challenge for Europe? Well, we're doing it this season. I do believe, I honestly, hand on heart, I believe we're challenging for European football this season. I believe that. I think we're a couple of players short from having a decent squad. In terms of participating in Europe, I think we need 3 or 4 players, but not just 3 or 4 players. I think we also need 3 or 4 young players that can step up. Because when teams go on their European adventure or whatever, often they will give the youngsters an opportunity. They will take them in. You know, Harry Kane, Tottenham is a good example. He come in because of Europa League football. That's where he started to get his game time at Spurs. And they thought, hang on, this guy's banging in the goals. Let's give him a little try in the league and stuff. So you've got to have 3 or 4 really strong young players that can almost form the spine of your Europa League team, whether that's Ben Johnson, Meepo Odubeko, Connor Coventry, Elise Baptiste, Harish Nasby, Wangello, even Nathan Trott or something. And you've got to have 4 young players. I don't know if these are good enough, by the way. You've got to have 3 or 4 players that is strong enough to be in every single Europa League squad, and then you pick your seniors around them, who's fit, who's available, who needs a rest, kind of thing. And I know that's sort of like a bit of a degrading way of looking at Europa League, thinking that we can just turn up and win and stuff. But I think that's the way to go about it. Mitchell, why didn't Bowen look up when he's dribbling? Reminds him of Milan Baros, but wide. He just doesn't. He just never done it. Alex, has Benrahma been good enough? Would Diangana have done a better job? No, he's not been good enough. But that's okay. That's okay. It's I think he's looked good at times. And the frustrating thing is when we're talking about Jared Bowen being substituted, I always think whenever Benrahma's hotting up during a game, he seems to get subbed. He seems to get subbed whenever he's just getting into the flow of things. But I've got a lot of patience with Saïd Benrahma. I don't think he's had a fair crack at the whip as yet. He's getting a fairer one now. He's now getting more and more game time. I want to see him on the left. None of this number 10 stuff. We've gone and looked at him at Brentford, playing on the left. One of the best players in the Championship. We've taken him to West Ham and said, go in the middle, mate. And I don't really understand it. I think, why have we done that? Why are we not playing him where we've just scouted him? You know, would you go watch a guy playing left back all season, think he's fantastic, bring him in and say, you're right back, mate? No, you wouldn't. You'd play him left back. Saying that, we've done it with Soufal, didn't we? But played right back his whole career. I think he played about 2 games wing back all career. Took him to West Ham, put him right wing back. So he did okay right wing back. I just think he's ridiculously good as a conventional right back compared to a wing back. But with Benrahma, we just got to be patient with him. We just got to wait. It will happen. He looks good. Has it been a success so far? No, but it's not been a failure either. I think there's a bit in the middle. It's not just yes or no. I think there's a bit in the middle that says not yet. That's all. It's fine. It's all right. Anyway, the injuries. Ogbonna's had a scan today. We'll wait and see what that is. Yarmolenko's his knee ligaments again. I don't think he's damaged them. We'll wait and see what that is. And Antonio's supposed to be fit for Sheffield United, so fingers crossed. Right, keep your comments coming. Get your comments in. I'll take a few more. Before we do, got an interview out tomorrow. Thank you to everybody who watched the referee one I did on Sunday with Mark Alsley. It's our most liked video we've ever done. 5.5 years of YouTube we've done. We started in 2015, the latter part of 2015. So 5.5 years have we done on YouTube, and it's the most liked video we've ever done. Even there's a video we've got with 60,000 views. And that one with 12,000 views has got more likes on it. So thank you to everybody that liked it and stuff. I've got another one tomorrow night what will I say? He's not an ex-player at West Ham. He used to work for West Ham, but he's not a player. He's a West Ham fan. I'll tell you who it is tomorrow and stuff. Charlie's just putting the finishing pieces to the edit together, and then we'll get it up, and it'll be live tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. I think it's quite a lengthy one. It's, I don't know, about 40 minutes long or something. I think it's different. It's different. No one's done it before. He's not done an interview before in the West Ham media space. And it was a pleasure to speak to him. Really nice guy. And there's a really interesting story in there. A really interesting story. So check that out tomorrow night if you can. That'd be good. No, it's I'm not going to say who it is. The club don't want to work with us. We work with the club a little bit at the end of midway through 2016, so at the very end of Upton Park, and about 2 games into the London Stadium. And there's a reason it's only 2 games, because unfortunately, we'll always be honest. You have to agree with what me and Gonzo say. We've never asked you to agree. We've just always been honest. So when I walked into the stadium and looked around, unfortunately, I thought, this ain't what I signed up for. I don't like this. This isn't very good. So I remember sort of, I guess, bring it back to basics, slagging off the stadium. The club can't really work with us because they've obviously got to uphold this professional looking thing, and they can't have 2 people on there that's on this channel gobbing off about the stadium, saying the club have messed it all up and made an absolute farce of moving the season ticket holders over, blah, 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 then go and work for the club. The club couldn't allow it. I say work for the club. We never ever got paid or anything. It was very much like just an opportunity, I guess. We got a little bit of access into Upton Park. We had a little look around and stuff. That was our payment. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. So, no, we won't be working with a club. Joe says he's not seen a worse debut than Odubeko. He's 18. Not to have energy is quite worrying. I think this is a bit harsh on Odubeko. I know he didn't play well, but I think it's a bit harsh. I think I feel sorry for the bloke. I feel really sorry for him. It's his first chance. He wasn't even coming. The thing is, he wasn't even meant to come on. He come on because Yarmolenko got injured. Like I said at the very start, I think the training wouldn't have helped him. And then all of a sudden, it's like, you come down here, get on, you're up front. And then we boot the ball at him from 30 yards away and says, do something. It was the worst game in the world for him to play. So I hope we see him get more and more opportunities and stuff like that. That's all, really. Anyway, right, a couple more questions, and I'll start rocking this one up. No, it's not David Sullivan. It's a former employee. He no longer works there. It's not Carl Jenkinson. I would love to interview Carl Jenkinson. Do you know when you talk about players you got wrong and stuff like that? Oh, I got Carl Jenkinson wrong. I would have loved us to sign him after his first year here on loan. I was like praying we were going to pay 10 million or something and get him signed up. I was convinced he was like the Aaron Creswell of right backs for us, and I was like, get him signed up. Come on. Yarmy, do you think Moyes' system undermines the ability of our attacking players? Therefore, they all seem out of form while defensive players look unreal. There's an element of that, because the defensive players have got a lot of defensive actions to do, therefore it's easy to look good. But I don't know. It depends which players. If we're going to play we did against Man United, and Fernandes is never going to work in there, is he? But if you put Benrahma in there and Jesse Lingard, up front maybe, or Antonio up front and Lingard on the right, I think the system would suit those three. The system would suit Benrahma, Lingard, Antonio. It's when you've got slow players in counter-attacking football, it doesn't really work, kind of thing. It's a poorly assembled squad a little bit, but Moyes he's not finished moulding it. He needs to ship out a few of these players and get some players in and stuff. And when I read that thing from 13 about him at Everton, about how he had, how he's 4 whiteboards, and it was while the first 3 were about who he was looking at and scouting and stuff. The board that intrigued me the most, and that I would like to have a look at the most at West Ham if he's got one, it was about his first team. He had his first team, and in his first team, he sort of had an idea of who he wants gone now, but also who needs phased out, who he thinks in 2 years' time won't be in his team. He's all right for now. He's maybe all right for next season, but the following season, he needs replaced, kind of thing. Now, I would almost like to see everybody, even you watching, whether you're West Ham online fans, James, Charles, Gary, Michael, I'd almost like to see what everybody would do with such a sheet of paper, because we'd all be different. But I'll tell you what, I think there'd be a lot of players very, very similar. I think we'd all have the same answer for Declan Rice and Souček. We'd all have the same answer for Yarmolenko, Lanzini, and Anderson, probably. We'd all probably have the same answer for Fabianski. But that's why I would like to look at what David Moyes has got, because I'm intrigued to see how many he wants out immediately. There's probably a few, but also those that he wants to phase out in the next 1 or 2 years. I'd imagine it's half the team. And that's where it's sort of like, well, good luck. It's a big, big job. It's not something you can do just like that. You can't just do it overnight, kind of thing. Michael said he liked Bowen, but he's concerned he's too good for Championship, not good enough for Premier League. Works hard, Black's Empire. Michael, you're the first person I've ever seen in the comments to use that phrase. I keep saying stuff like that, and 1 or 2 people have told me I'm mad when I say that they're too good for the Championship and they're not good enough for the Premier League. There's a bit in the middle, and people are always like, what are you on about? I'm glad that you're bonkers as well, Michael. It's not just me. I think Bowen's better than that, Phil. I think Bowen's good enough for the Premier League. I do think he is. Dave G, should we have kept Silva for the third choice? Got a couple of decent goals. No. No, I'm not very keen on that. Like, the problem isn't who we let go. The problem is just not bringing someone in. I think that's the problem. I think it's that we let Silva go, or we let Afolayan go, or Tony Martinez go a couple of seasons ago. Those aren't the problems. The problem is we just didn't bring someone in January. That's all it is. I think it's just, I say it's simple as that, but that's what I think it is. Daniel, Bowen's our highest goal contributor. A few bad games, everyone writes them all. I think it's before. I think people. I'm one of them, Daniel. I'm one of them that's not say 100% sold on Bowen. I think he's a really good player. But before Christmas, we were coming up to like, I don't know, 16 games through the season. I did some sort of like tier list for the players so far. It was when there was an international break and I needed content, so I did a tier listing. And I think I put Bowen in like the all right so far. And I got a lot of criticism for it. I gave him like a 6 out of 10 performance for the season. But my thing was, I expected him to be Hammer of the Year contender, and I didn't think he was anywhere near it. He's gone backwards a little bit from that. So I don't think it's just now. As for the highest goal contributor, statistically correct, but he takes the corners. I think it's cheating a little bit if you take all the set pieces. It's not really, because he's good at in taking corners and that. But when you're whipping corners in, and we train our set pieces like we do and stuff, it's an easy set piece to create. I was having a look at the stats last night because I was discussing Mark Noble to someone about last night, and he was saying, why did Noble play? And I said, well, hang on a minute, I thought Noble was better than Rice and Souček last night, and I thought statistically he probably was as well. So I went and had a little look because I was intrigued. And Mark Noble did a key pass last night, and I thought, did he? Like, the only other two that done a key pass statistically was Creswell and Johnson. So I thought, let's have a look and see where this Mark Noble one come from. And it come from taking a corner. And I thought, well, that's a bit misleading, isn't it? It sounds like he's done something during the game, but he didn't. He just took the corner and Dawson headed it. I think that was the corner that Noble took. And Creswell had one from corner as well. Johnson was the only one that did a key pass in open play last night for West Ham in 120 minutes of football. Anyway, listen, I'm gonna shut up a bit. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to wrap this up. I only like to do them for half an hour or something, or I'll be here all day. So I say thank you to everybody that's joined me in the live chat. Everybody's put a comment, said thank you. I appreciate it as always. Tomorrow night, we've got that interview going up with someone that we used to work for the club. Hopefully you like it. I'm quite happy I've done it. I quite enjoyed it. Quite enjoyed speaking to him. It's a bit different. Again, it's a bit different, like the Mark Halsley referee interview that I did on Sunday morning. So hopefully it goes down quite well. Then I'll have another video on Friday as well. I'm trying to do one a day now. We've got to be consistent. I've got to do a bit better for reasons we'll explain later on in the month. So if you've got any content ideas, this is where I'm on the bag. Put them in the comments below. I'll have a read, and if any of them are decent, I might even steal it. Anyway, thank you. Take care. I'll see you in a bit.